Hey there, comic friends, I'm Travis, and this is another edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my week of comics. Been a relatively quiet week as far as me doing videos and whatnot. I don't know if you've noticed or not. Normally this What the Fugue would come out on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and here it is Saturday, and I'm finally getting around to recording it. I didn't do last week's reviews of comics. No, didn't review Batman 17 or any of that big time significant stuff. I read all of my books. I actually haven't had time to get around to doing the reviews. Had lots of my kids have had lots of activities and stuff like that that have pretty much taken up most of my free time to do those sorts of things. So I'm far enough behind on it. I said I'm just not going to do that review. You know, as far as those comics go and whatnot, I'm just going to skip that. And more than likely, this week there might be reviews or there might not. It depends on how much time I get and stuff like that. Well, you're going to have to excuse me here for a second. I'm going to move my tripod a little bit because I am sitting down on the floor because I'm getting ready to dig through. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this is so professional. Let's try this. There we go. Whoa! And it falls on my face. Okay. But yeah, this is, I may do this week's. This week my comics came late. The comics I would be getting last Wednesday. I won't be getting them until Monday or Tuesday because I ordered enough comic books that it weighs over 3 pounds. Once it goes past the magic 3 pound or 3.5 pound weight, then Discounts Comic Book Service mails me my comics through FedEx, and FedEx is horribly slow. UPS is pretty slow too. If I have about 3 pounds worth, then they send them through the Postal Service, and I get them in 2 days, so I'd have them on Friday. So there's that. But I don't know if I'm going to get around to doing those reviews either. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get those books read. This next week, this next week is Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle. And I'm going, as I've gone the last 3 years. This is my 4th year, I believe, going. I usually have tons of fun doing that. This year it has just got a metric ton of creators that I'm excited to get to meet and talk to and stuff like that. Right now, the reason I'm sitting down here with my comic books is I'm going to be digging through all these comics to pull out all the books that I want to get signed. I'm basically just working my way down the guest list and looking at books that possibly I want to have them signed. So that's what my current objective is today on this Saturday, is to do that besides filming this thing. I figure I'll listen to everybody's YouTube videos that have been cranked out in the last week because I'm way behind on watching those too, so I'll just set those things up to play all of them, and I'll just listen to those while I dig through comics and work on all that because I have to get it all set up and ready to go prior to that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to actually doing the comic reviews by the time I get done with all my prep for Emerald City Comic Con. I take the train to get to Seattle from where I'm located at, or as close as I can get to the train. So I've got like a 6-hour train ride that I will take to get to the con. The train leaves at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So that'll be Thursday night / Friday morning that I'll go and do that. My plan is for the con this year. Last year I kind of chickened out on filming anything. This year I probably will make an earnest attempt to see if I can talk to some creators, see if they're okay with me filming them. Of course, I don't know really what I want to film with the creators, so I haven't decided on that. I'm pretty sure I have my phone set up now to where I can YouTube small videos off of my phone. So I would suspect this next weekend that there will be lots of tweeting from me. If you have Twitter or interested in following me and you don't follow me yet, that's _gaunt_man. And I'll be tweeting about the con, I'm sure. I will post small YouTube videos from my phone as I see it warrants that, or pictures from my phone onto Twitter. And we'll kind of see. And then I'll hopefully film some stuff with my actual camera. And then after the con's over with, we'll hopefully be able to put together some sort of an actual con video and whatnot. My whole family goes on the event, so it's kind of our family vacation on top of that. Should be lots of fun, but that's basically kind of been my focus. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to what's going on in the news, except for the official DC Comics with their April WTF. The official statement is on that what that stands for, instead of what we all assume it stands for, is What the 52. That's the official statement. What the 52. Okay, whatever. Any rate, so I don't know if I'll be on the podcast tonight, the Comic Talk podcast tonight. I definitely won't be on it next week because I will be at the con, having fun there. But I hope to bring back some stuff. I'm not sure exactly what my goals are this year at the con. Normally I have a goal set. This is the stuff I'm going to do. I know I'm looking for particular commissions or something like that. The people I think I would want commissions from, I think most of them don't actually do con commissions. Like Fiona Staples, she's going to be there, and that's somebody that I would want a con sketch from if I could get one. So I still plan on going to her table first, I think, to make sure I get in line for that. Scott Snyder, I think, is going to be another one of those people. It's going to be a challenge to get to him, to get books signed. Chris Claremont's another one I think is going to be a challenge. So hopefully I don't have to spend too much time standing in line for those people. Normally you don't. So yeah. So excited for that. Don't have a lot of other news and whatnot. Just that's what I'm working on. That's kind of where I've been and why there hasn't been a video, if anybody's even wondered. So yeah, so there might be a break for 2 or 3 weeks of reviews. I'll probably still get time to squeeze a What the Fugue in somewhere. I may squeeze in my no capes also, just because those are shorter. Something I want to talk about, no capes, now I'm thinking about it. I got a private message, and I can't exactly remember who it was that sent the message, not that it matters, about the fact, wanting to know if I was down on superhero comics, because I separate my no capes and talk about them, and at the end of my no capes videos, I'm always, lots of them I'm saying, hey, you should go and check out, non-superhero books. That the comic book medium is such an amazing medium, that sequential art is such an amazing way to tell a story, that you can tell stories about all kinds of stuff, and you can tell them in ways that can't be told otherwise. And I truly believe that, and I truly stick with that. No, I'm not down on superhero comics. I love superhero comics. I love the genre of superheroes. I'm dissatisfied with a chunk of superhero comics right now, but that I'm not down on superhero comics. Or do I think people should ignore superhero comics at the investment in non-superhero comics? But there is the fact is the big two, at least, DC and Marvel. They're a huge machine, and they don't need me sitting here talking about how great they are, or that you should be reading those books in particular and putting extra focus on them necessarily. I mean, I talk about those books. I talk about those books I like and the books I bought that I don't like or whatever. I talk about all the books that I read. But I just know that the average person who knows about comic books doesn't probably know about all the types of comic books that are out there. And I guess for me, part of those statements are, or part of the reason those statements is if somebody happens to come across one of my videos and is watching it and hasn't thought to maybe go, gee, you know what? I like I like horror. I love reading Clive Barker books and Stephen King and that sort of stuff. And maybe they don't know, they're okay with comics, but superheroes aren't their thing. Don't realize that there's things like Severed out there. There's things like Lot 13 out there. All those kinds of things. That there's this other stuff out there that they could read that and embrace sequential art, and that could be beneficial to all of us, because all of us as fans, we need new fans. We need other fans to come and read the medium, so the medium stays healthy and survives. So that's why I talk about what I talk about. Plus the fact I also know there are plenty of people who just read superhero comics and they might be missing out on something else that's really great out there to broaden their horizons. And I think we all should be broadening our horizons and reading more stuff and reading different things and stretching our brains and challenging our thoughts on what is a comic book and what kind of stories can be told. So that's why I talk about the no capes the way I talk about the no capes and stuff. It's not like I think they're better. It's a different kind of a thing. And I love them all for all their reasons. I think that the no capes comics in general are more expressive lots of times and explore things better than superhero comics do as a whole right now, because lots of superhero comics are kind of stuck in a format. For some reason, it seems to be that if it's going to be a superhero comic, it has to fit within certain parameters, it seems. That's what the editors want or whatever. And so it doesn't explore the art form quite so often with the with superhero books. And that's not 100% true, obviously. There every once in a while they'll explore something different, like that Court of Owls Batman issue. I think it was like 9 or something, I want to say, where you're reading the comic and you have to literally turn the comic around as Batman spirals down into this thing. That's a new way of exploring how does the comic work and how does the page work and how does reading it work and all that kind of stuff. And it's stretching the art form and making us think. It just doesn't happen a whole lot in the superhero genre as much. So that's another reason for the no capes and whatnot. But anyway, I'm not down on superhero comics, and I'm certainly not saying go out and read Image at the expense of reading superhero comics for that sake. But I think there are more well-written, interesting, different voiced comics that aren't superhero comics than are superhero comics. A lot of superhero comics all seem to have the same voice, at least right now. So that's that. That's this. I'm going to be done now because I've got to go dig through all these things to try and find probably, I don't know. I have no idea how many comics this is going to end up being. I'm starting at the top of the list, and I don't know that I'm going to take anything to O'Neill just because I don't want to wreck my image of how much I enjoy his art by meeting a guy that I keep hearing from people is not so great. But that I may change my mind when I get there. But I haven't decided what book I'm bringing. Right now, I'm looking for Tony Atkins books. For me, I've got some of his work from back in the 90s. I think he did some work on Elementals and stuff like that, but I'm not going to have him sign that. I think that first issue of Wonder Woman, I'm going to have him sign it. That, I think, is issue 5. It's got the big fishy Poseidon on it. I think that's the first issue that he does the art for Wonder Woman, and is basically, it becomes the secondary artist on Wonder Woman along with Cliff Chiang. So that's where I'm starting out at right now, is looking for that book, and then I'm going to work my way down. But Atkins, that's just A. So I got a long ways to go, guys. Anyway, have a great one. Have a great weekend. See you at some point. Like I said, if you don't get any more videos from me before the actual con, I hope to be sending out some live stuff on my adventures for the con. It may be a little more blogish in the fact that I think I'm going to do little bits and pieces of me, at the train and just the whole way along the way, so you can vicariously experience the adventure along with me, if you want to. Anyway, we'll see how that all works out. Depends on my mood at the time and what all's going on. Anyway, have a great one, everybody. See you at some point.